You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Disclaimer: this week's episode features themes of mental illness and includes some foul language. It is not our intention to alienate anyone, but we also strive not to censor our artists who are trying to normalize discussing these issues in order to reduce the stigma. We also did not want to censor or compromise the integrity of the artistic work performed. If you feel this episode may not be for you, we completely understand, and thank you for supporting us this far. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Doing It for the Exposure, the show that has such a way with words. I'm your host, Mannequin Blue, and today's special guest is spoken word artist and comedian PM Spunk.
Nice to meet you, Katie.
Nice to meet you too. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Just keeping on, to be honest. It's mightily depressing at times.
Yeah, second lockdown is hitting everyone, I think, at this stage.
Yes, tell me about it. Yeah, it's just, as you were saying, while we weren't recording there, the dark nights as well, coming into depressing stage now, in fairness, with the winter as well.
Oh yeah, it's getting cold and dark and horrible and wet.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, so you said that you're a spoken word artist and a comedian, so kind of how did you get into that?
Yeah, actually, well, it didn't kind of start off on a bright note. Basically, what had happened was, ever since I can remember, I was kind of suffering in silence with kind of major anxiety and depression. And I wasn't until my 30s where I kind of saw help for it. I went to my mother and I told her, look, I'm not well, I need help. And she works near people that could kind of get me the help that I needed. And I went up to the mental health services in Ballymun, and I was put in contact with an occupational therapist. And yeah, she kind of helped me with everything. Obviously, she talked to me about kind of the ins and outs of what I was going through. She was wanting to know my interest, and I didn't really have any interest. It was just because I'd just kind of fake everything really with friends and family. They could be kind of, like smiling and laughing away, and it wasn't kind of, well, I felt I wasn't good company, but apparently I fooled a lot of people and they hadn't a clue. And then the occupational therapist, her name is Jenny, she kind of got me into the spoken word scene in the international bar. And from the international bar I was doing, people thought the stuff I had to say was funny. She was like, have you ever tried stand-up? And I was like, no, I'm not a comedian. And one particular comedian, they were like, well, from what I see, you make people laugh, don't you? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, that's what a comedian does. So that's how I kind of got into the kind of doing, I've done a few shows and stand-up, but mainly it's for, I do kind of spoken word.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And like, I know it's a recurring theme on the podcast as well, is that a lot of the artists that come on would say the same as you, is that they were they had anxiety or depression or something similar. And I have to say, like, it's such a hard thing to come out and say, I'm not okay, I need help. And just fair play to you for that. I think that's incredibly admirable.
Oh, thank you. Even talking about it there, kind of a feeling there in the pit of my stomach, really, like nerve, kind of obviously anxious. I still kind of get all that, but obviously it's all under control. The people up in the mental health services kind of gave me a few tablets, so that kind of eases it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know this is your first interview as well, and I know that can be like so nerve-wracking, because you don't know what to expect, and you don't know, like you said earlier, you said that you thought you weren't fun to be around, and you thought, your friends didn't enjoy being around you, but yeah, they actually do, you know what I mean? So it's kind of that thing with anxiety where you see all the things about yourself you don't like, but other people see, like you said, you're making them laugh, you're good fun, you're doing your spoken word, and everybody loves that. And so, like, fair play to you. Thank you so much for fighting the anxiety and coming to talk to me.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks very much. It's ever since the first time I kind of got up on stage, and then like the reception and they were very welcoming. And I thought to myself, I had the best feeling ever when I was up there, and then even when I got off, I literally wanted to get straight back up again. Like it was just brilliant, the feeling. Before it though, it was like an open mic, right? And like you put your name into a glass, and then it gets picked out. I put my name in first, like thinking, I'll be pulled out first. Not in the slightest. I literally, I think I came second to last out, and I was just pure shaking in my seat, waiting to go up. Pure sweat, my hands are sweating, my face. Oh, so I had to literally go into the toilet, throw like water onto my face, and kind of gave myself a little speech in the bathroom mirror. It was a bit cringy, but to get through it worked. It kind of got me focused on, look, you're doing this, and that's the end of it. And I did, and it was the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in the bathroom mirror pep talks. I'm one of those cringy people. I'm like, you can do it. You got this. No
Yeah,
judgment here.
yeah. Oh, stop! It was so bad. But the feeling afterwards, and people coming up to me, congratulating me, patting the back, asked me, "Did you write that yourself?" Like all the compliments I was given, but typical Irish, I couldn't really take it, and I was very embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. Like it just, oh, okay, thank you, and just feeling pure awkward about it. But like now, it's just water off a duck's back now, really.
Yeah, and so you found it easier now, kind of down the line, have you?
Yeah, this is going back to like 2017. So what? Counting on my fingers are 3 years. Yeah. So yeah, the feeling that I had then to now, it's the same feeling I always get now. Like it was the fourth, like it's the fourth time. Like after getting off, it's just fantastic.
And had you ever written anything before your kind of first time on stage?
I did actually. I used to write poetry in school, like in secondary school, but it wasn't something to be bragging about. Well, so I thought back then, thinking that it's not the cool thing to do. So then I just kind of stopped doing it, and then I didn't really get back into it till my thirties. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what a waste of talent that possibly could have been if I kind of stuck with it when I was in school to now. Like, I'm thinking I could have probably done a hell of a lot if it wasn't for me thinking that it wasn't the cool thing to be doing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but it's kind of one of those things where it doesn't really matter when you start as long as you start. Like, I know lots of artists who start things, in their 30s, 40s, even 50s, and they're amazing, and, you should never think, oh, it's wasted talent. I didn't use it when I could have used it, but you're doing it now, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, that's fair point. Fair point. Probably wasn't meant to be back then. I'm a believer kind of in that. What's meant to be will be. Probably like I wasn't meant to be doing it until started doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. Like, I'm a firm believer in, it's never too late. You do it when you're meant to do it. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter when you do it as long as you do it. And that's brilliant. I think more people should feel that they can get into things later in life, that they haven't wasted their time, and there's always still time.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I have plenty of time to write now, so I have like loads of material. But the thing, I've tried the online gigs and the online kind of. It's not kind of the same. I don't think it's the same thing than actually performing in front of like a real crowd, like
Yeah, it's kind of a different feeling performing in front of a camera because you don't really get that feedback.
Yeah, that's. I just find it so awkward doing it like at home instead of like two people like out at an event or whatever it is. It's yeah, as I was saying, it's just the feeling isn't the same. So I just stopped kind of trying to do the online gig.
Oh, well, that's a shame. No, I can totally understand though. Like you said, you don't get the instant feedback, you don't get that reaction from people, but I think you should keep going, especially if it's something you enjoy doing.
Yeah, I suppose you're right there, but I'm still kind of writing more stuff, and I used to when I first started, read off a page, and I literally, like the first time I done it, me head would be on the page, my hands would be shaking. So I've obviously kind of stopped that, and I've memorized everything now. So instead of kind of obviously head down, not engaging the audience, that's probably the best advice actually I was ever given, in fairness, in the whole spoken word scene, was to stop reading from the sheet and kind of engage the audience. But, and people, believe it or not, people like came up to me, one fella in particular, I don't remember his name, I haven't actually seen him in years, but he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, you should try that without the page." And I took his advice and I done it. And then the next time I seen him, it was like, "Oh, it was better with the page. Like, it was better with the page." I was like, "Oh, all right, thanks very much." It was like, because he was saying, "Oh, it's like a kind of a character that you had up on stage to just head down." And I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, okay, that's first you're telling me to do it without the page, and now you're telling me, oh, it's better with the page."
There's no pleasing some people, is there?
No, 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 not in the slightest. But yeah, I haven't had to look at the page. I haven't had to look at the page now in 2 years, like, so. The memory served me well.
And so do you find then that when you're not looking at the page, it's kind of less of a crutch and you're more performing your work then rather than just reading it?
Yeah, exactly. That's how I say it. The singer friend, Larry Bourne, his name is. He told me to. This isn't the same fella now that said you were better without the page, but he was like, every time he'd see me perform with the page, he'd come up straight after, and he'd always say, "Oh, will you get rid of that page? Just do it straight up." And I was like, I can't. It was like, obviously, it was like, there's no such thing as I can't. Just go home, rehearse in the mirror. And yeah, I took his advice. It's probably the best advice I've been given.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of, it helps you get more into it as well. Because like you said, you're not reading it off a page, it's in your head. And so you feel it more as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can kind of engage the audience, kind of make kind of proper eye contact. I feel that, well, because when they're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it even more than what they are, just by seeing their reaction instead of looking down on the page. And I can't get that by looking at the page.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of places then would you perform in?
I started doing kind of the international bar. Have you ever been to the international?
I don't think so. I know the name, but I don't think I've been there.
We're doing, where was it, Whelan's. We've been all over the place. We've gone to kind of Dundalk and places like that. Now I wouldn't know half the places because I don't really go out to drink or anything like that. So I wouldn't know the names of any of the pubs or all that. I just go along where it is.
You
Show
just
up.
go where they tell you.
Yeah, just show up, and obviously I know where the Inter is. That's the more familiar one for me would be the international bar.
Okay, brilliant. So, and then would you be involved at all in, because I know that there's kind of a niche spoken word kind of at festivals. Would you be involved in that at all?
Yeah, I've gone to festivals. There was one for St. Patrick's Day, and there was one for the five lamps. I was meant to do the five lamps, but I got the day wrong, and obviously I turned up on the wrong day, and nobody was there. So
Oh gosh.
I missed it basically. But yeah, I was meant to do that. This is going back a while now. I think 2 years or a year ago, a year and a half probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I got back in contact with the woman. She was like, "Oh, it's fine. We can sort something else out. If ever I wanted to do it again, just shoot her a message."
all right, well that's handy out. So like I know the feeling of mixing up days, and I think I've shown up to gigs more than once, the day before, something like that. But I suppose it's better to be early than miss it.
Yeah, but the mad thing is, it would have been paid work, so I missed out on that. Yeah, I was a pain in the hole. Yeah,
And,
but
and paid work is so few and far between, especially these days.
yeah, especially for poetry, like it would have been just like a half an hour, and like obviously you're getting paid for a half an hour's work. Like,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Oh, that's a pain.
Yeah, it was a pain in the hole, yeah. And I was actually looking forward to it, like, because I'd perform in my back garden, like, if people would come, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be so handy as well. Just like in your garden. Brilliant.
Yeah, that's obviously charging people in, but, like, still.
Yeah. But you don't have to go anywhere. Just like you're already there. And then when you're done,
Exactly,
you just go up to bed.
exactly. Jump out of bed, just get a shower, out to the back garden, sorted.
So then, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of things would you write about?
Well, I'm at the start. It was really kind of, mental health pieces about kind of the dark places I've been in, and there's a few pieces where obviously there's this one piece, next dumped me by email. I wrote about that. It was a lovely email though. It was a cracking email. Like, I was very upset, but it was a lovely email. She dumped me the wrong way, but what she said in the email was lovely. Well, I do more. Well, I don't do more comedy stuff. Something comes into my head, I write it down. If it's funny, I'm going to say it. I don't really care what it is. I get a lot of stick from some pubs. I've I've rang up places to see could I do stuff, and especially the name actually, PM Spunk. I went. I'm not even going to name the place. The man knows who he is if he actually hears this. I don't know, but he wouldn't let me do it because of my name. He said, "Oh, with a name like PM Spunk, you won't ever perform here." I'm thinking to myself, well, it can't be much of a comedy place if you can't use the word spunk. That's what he was. He was very upset with the word spunk. Like, obviously, he doesn't actually know what it actually means. Like, I was like, fair enough. I won't ask it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the thing. Unfortunately, being an artist and that, you can't really be to everyone's tastes.
Yeah, but even if he would have let me up, he would have understood that comedy is subjective, and other people's opinion of the name, most people don't care about it, but that one person did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that, because like you said, if he let you in and you did your poetry or your stand up or whatever, he might have liked it. But it's kind of, some people judge everything by first appearances, and they shouldn't really do that, but they just do.
Yeah, it's his loss at the end of the day. I don't actually care. And if he asked me to come on, I wouldn't do it. I actually, do you know what I done actually? We were exchanging emails for motivate for myself for motivation. I kind of screenshot the email where he said, "Oh, with a name like PM Spunk, you're not going to ever perform here." I screenshot that and I put it as my screensaver for a while on my phone, just for motivation. For like, don't kind of, it doesn't matter what he thinks, kind of things, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't know that I had it, but it was for me more than that.
Yeah, I actually I do like that idea of using your rejections as motivation. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it was like big. Or certainly me, he thought I was mad.
No, I mean I can understand where you're coming from. I think it is a good thing. Just to say, well, okay, maybe not everybody likes what I do, but I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. That's all you can do, is just do your own thing.
Yeah, I remember I'm involved in a writers group as well, the Ballymun Writers Group. And back in 2017, we were doing our first book. We were in the Ballymun Library. It was a great actually turnout. I think there would have been about like close to 200 people. But well, that's probably an exaggeration, but I thought it was close to that or whatever. But so I got up. It went great. People were laughing, this, that, and the other. And then we went to a break. People were getting kind of refreshments, and then this one person comes up to me. I said a word, right, she wasn't happy with, and she just kind of went at me at the break for about 10 minutes. I used the word in a poem. It wasn't at anybody. It was just for a poem, and she came at me for about 10 minutes saying, "Oh, you let me down. You let yourself down," and I wasn't very happy with it. I was like, I apologized, but like it's like she wasn't taking the apology. It's like she wouldn't accept the apology, and I was like, well, sorry, I just kept apologizing, and then someone came up. They were like, I've heard you over there. You've apologized enough to her. She doesn't want to take her apology. That's on her. And yeah, I took it on the chin and moved on. But like, that doesn't stop me from doing that poem, you know. I still do it to this day. I don't kind of care what people think. I say what I say. If they don't like it, well then don't listen to me or don't ask me to do stuff.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like, you know, she took offense to something, and like, fair enough, people take offense, it happens. But it was kind of, it sounds like she kind of wanted to be offended at that point, because like you said, you apologized, but she wasn't accepting it, and that's unfortunate as well. Is that, you know, sometimes people can't see past themselves to enjoy the art for what it is.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I didn't say it like it wasn't for like shock value, or it wasn't aimed at anybody. It was just like the line. The line of the start of it was, there's no I in PM, but there is a U in cunt, and it went on from there. And yeah, that's the thing she was kind of pissed off about. You let yourself down. You didn't need to say this. You didn't need it. It was unnecessary. And yeah, it was after that I thought to myself, yeah, well, I find it funnier now when people get offended, because not that I'm going out of my way to offend people, but I just find it funny, like, you know what I'm about, and the stuff that I do, like, and if you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it. Leave the room.
Yeah, like I can understand that, because you know, your art is an extension of you, and it's how you express yourself. And like you said, you're not going out to intentionally offend people, you're not attacking people, you're just using the words that, you know, work for you. So I can kind of understand that in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that library, the book, that piece that I done pieces that weren't in the book. One or two people came up to me at the end, and they were saying, "Oh, where's them pieces you done? I can't find it in the book." And I was like, "No, I didn't do the pieces that were in the book." And then she was like, "Oh, I only bought it because them two pieces were in it. I thought they were in it." And she didn't get her money back, but she was happy to keep the book. It was just the fact that she thought them two pieces were in it.
Ah, right. Okay. So then, you know, you've been published before, and do you have any plans for kind of any future publishings?
Yeah, I'm working on one myself now. I just need a laptop to complete it. I don't actually have a laptop, and how I was writing mainly was in the Ballymun Library, and they restricted the amount of time you have on it now. You can only like have 40 minutes or 45 minutes a day, and I hate being timed for anything, whether it's a test in school or obviously a computer in the library. It's like every time I'm typing, I'm thinking to myself, the time is catching up on me now. I'm not going to have time to finish it, and that just irritate me. I couldn't use them anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna get myself a laptop and then fucking actually finish it. It's actually the pieces I have. It's from years ago, that like mental health that's been built up in me, and yeah, it's 30 odd years in the making for what I should have said years ago.
Right. Yeah. So kind of like that whole restriction in the library, is that because of lockdown, or is it just kind of something that they put in place
Oh
regardless of
no,
lockdown?
no. It wasn't to do with lockdown. It was just, this is when it wasn't lockdown, like when you just went in and you had it. There's a time now. You can only use it for a certain amount a day, less than an hour a day. Like,
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that obviously then that has hit you quite hard in the sense that you're trying to create, you know, this book, and it's just making things difficult for you.
yeah, because I'm not much of a computer. I don't like. I hate technology. Well, I don't hate technology. Obviously, it's useful in some ways, but like I'm not a fan of it. I'd rather like when we were kids, like, and you're outside and you're not looking on a screen, you know.
Yeah.
It's just there. It's just, well, yeah, it's just it just irritates me at times. It's just because there's so many cruel people out there actually bullying people, and then obviously it leads to kind of depression and whatnot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's the thing, is that if you have any kind of, you know, any kind of technology or a tool or whatever it is to help you with something, there's always somebody that's going to abuse it.
Yeah, I've been in that kind of situation as well. It's not about kind of, if you ever go in, you see a feed, and then you have to click into the comments to see what people are saying from that post. And I'd kind of say if someone was bullying somebody else, and then that me off, like, it'd be like, what did that person do to them? Like, it was a simple comment, an opinion, like someone would post their opinion, and then someone just jumps down their throat, like, via a keyboard. Do you know what I mean? Like, who the hell are you? Like,
Yeah, I think it's a bit too easy for people to be mean and vindictive on the internet because there's no kind of immediate consequences for them. You know, because like someone says something to your face, I don't know, they might get a slap or something, but if it's behind a screen, it's easier for them to feel like they've gotten away with it.
yeah, it's anonymous kind of thing. Like, you know, it's like, well, especially if they're using like a fake name or a fake kind of account just to troll people.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of, technology, where is the best place for people to keep up to date with you? So, like, do you have social media or anything of that nature?
Yeah, Facebook. It's the name is PM Spunk, but it's at Spunk Sock SOC, as in society, like SPUNK SOC.
Okay, brilliant. So, and what we'll do as well is we'll include that in the stream. We'll put it in the description so that people can click into it and find you because, like you said, if you're writing a book and everything and people are interested and they want to keep up to date, we want them to be able to find you.
No, that'd be great, actually. Thanks a million. It's always nice to have the support of this kind of platform, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's the whole point of the show is that artists can promote themselves and, maybe in ways that they wouldn't have been able to do before. And, hopefully you get some followers, you get some support. That's the whole reason we do this.
I haven't, since this lockdown, I haven't actually posted much.
No, I don't blame you. Like, I think it is a good idea to have some kind of social media, but like I said, just purely to promote your art. Like you said, if you write something, you can post it up, people can have a read, or if you want to perform something, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be on it personally.
Yeah, it's just because I remember for when I was doing something, I was doing a course for my mental health, and I was performing at the time, and the person who was kind of running it, it was like, well, what's your social media account? And I was like, well, no, I don't have a page to promote myself because I don't like going onto kind of social media. And yeah, that was his idea. It was like, well, if you wanted to promote yourself and let people know that you're out there, and then I was kind of reluctant to do it, but I did end up doing it. And yeah, it's not something I'm really into, but obviously if I'm promoting something, I'll go on and kind of stick something up, or if just to engage people, really, I suppose. Anything for a like, as they say. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's just I post something just for the sake of it. Really, I don't really know what to be doing with the page.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good for, say you're doing it, obviously not with lockdown, but say you're doing a performance somewhere. It's good to let people know kind of where you'll be, what you're doing, if you're working on some new stuff, if you want to share stuff you've already done, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I suppose that obviously in that way it's great. I don't really like going on to kind of the internet and all that. I know obviously I have kind of a few followers or whatever on the page as it is, but I do have a few kind of pieces of poetry and that on it as well. But other than that, it's just I think I have near 1,000 pictures, and it's just basically me photoshopped onto kind of other people's bodies, and that's it.
Right. So you're using your Photoshop skills as well as your poetry skills. So just because I'm keeping an eye on the time here, is there anything that you would like to talk about that we haven't talked about yet just before we finish up?
Well, I'd like to say a lot of this time has been talking about probably mental health, and it's during this lockdown. It's obviously a difficult period, and I suggest if people is not feeling very well with their mental health, that they should talk to someone and seek help with what they're going through, just to let them know that they're not alone. And that's about it. That's what I done, and the best thing I probably done was go and actually seek the help that I got.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. For anyone out there listening who is suffering with anxiety or depression or anything mental health related, I think it is a great idea to just talk to somebody about it and, go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Because even if someone does listen to this, it only takes if you get through to one person to actually go and actually talk about what they're going through, that's an amazing thing to do. Like, because obviously you're helping one person, if not more. I have a piece of poetry here, if it's all right to do.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
This one, it didn't really have a name, but I just called it "The Lord of Darkness." It's not a shout out to kind of Ozzy Osbourne around. It's just it's about mental health.
Yeah, no, go for it.
I hear and obey the Lord of Darkness. I see him in my merged dreams. So they're so vivid, like an old painting of a canvas. Some may say I'm outlandish as I brandish my words and feelings. I throw their opinions away as I would do my mandarin peelings. I have checked out of many hotels with my cum still fresh on the ceiling as I blow off some steam to get away from my life's dealings. I was in search of sexual healings with one night stands, and I ran out of hands and toes to tell you how many hoes that I used to try and take away my woes. I was looking for highs, but all I found were lows. I would pose with friends and family with fake smile after fake smile. The Nile, it's not just a river. I drank so much that it almost cost me my liver. When I think back then, it gives me a shiver through my timber, because back then, I thought about walking the plank. I sat in my dark room for weeks, and to be honest, the place stank. And so did I. I cried day after day. I didn't want to be that guy. So I gave myself the option. It was either get help or die. And that's that.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, it kind of got me myself while I was writing it. It was bringing me back to kind of hard times.
Yeah, no, that just shows you, that you can convey so much with just a few words.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I totally agree there. Best thing I done was kind of start writing down my feelings, and not even knowing that like the feelings. Then even when I'm reading over some of the things I wrote down, and I turned them into kind of poetry. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that I suppose that's what, like, I used to be a musician myself, and a lot of it is just writing down kind of thoughts and then stringing them together somehow. But yeah, you've totally hit it. Like, that was beautiful.
thanks very much. Actually, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. No, absolutely. And I definitely think that you should share more on social media because that was so well written.
Yeah, that's the thing. I do be. You know what I be worried? Obviously, people listen and kind of hear stuff, but then I'm thinking to myself, like, if I'm putting stuff out there, obviously, and it's not published yet or whatever, and then I'm thinking to myself, oh, is people gonna steal that kind of stuff? You know, like, but then that makes me feel like, don't be a dope. Like, no one's gonna steal your stuff. No, I don't know. It's just like no.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think you need to worry too much about people stealing your stuff. Not that it's not amazing because that was really good, but I think it's more kind of if you worry about people kind of stealing your stuff, you won't really be able to put yourself out there, because I guess that's kind of the
Yeah,
risk you take with promotion.
yeah, that's very true.
It is a valid concern, but it's kind of if you're worried about people stealing your work, and hopefully nobody does, but if you're worried so much about people stealing your work that it stops you from sharing your work, that's kind of, that's something you need to address, I suppose. I think it's definitely worth looking into, like, especially if, like you said, you enjoy writing so much, and it's obvious that you're quite good at what you do. So I think you do need to kind of look into that and just get it out there.
Yeah, watch this space, I suppose, is what I should say.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, watch this space. Yeah, of course. And obviously, anything that you come out with in the future, we're more than happy to share it for you as well. Just get it out there more.
No, I'd appreciate that a lot, actually, yeah.
Yeah, oh, completely. That's what we're here for.
True, that's actually very true. Yeah, it's platforms like this that they don't get the credit that you deserve. I've heard like you say stuff and you kind of not degrade, that's the wrong word. Downplay your role of what you actually do. As you said, you kind of edit the whole thing yourself. Like, that takes a lot of time and effort, you know. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely it does. Yeah. I put a lot more time and effort into this than I probably should. So, PM Spunk, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
thanks very much, Katie. Thanks.
Oh yeah, absolutely no problem. We're so glad to have you. And if you enjoyed this episode of Doing It for the Exposure and would like to hear more in the future, make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at DIFTE Podcast. You can also check out our stream on nerdtoknowmedia.com. We stream weekly on Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.